your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband. Tell me what's your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband.
What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new alternate universe video. Now, due to my, you could say my coworker and my brother, my calendar guy, shouts out to my boy, he knows who he is. I'm not going to say his name because he already knows his recognition. I like to keep my people secret, but sometimes I like to bring them out sometimes if they really need it. But let's get to the new video. Today, we're going to make a quite new one, and this is quite an idea that I kind of had in my mind, but also was given this thumbnail because he wanted me to do it. You know who you are. But this is going to be, what if Deku was Itachi Uchiha? Now, I know what you're saying, but Keyshawn Uchiha, people already made Itachi Uchiha. People already made him look quite good and stuff, and made him have a lot of different things, or made him quite edgy or other things. No! We're gonna make this different. We're gonna make this 18 plus. We're gonna make this shit spicy. We're gonna make this shit so good that it's gonna be good. Now, please hit that like button. Let's get this up to like 50 likes and I will make a part 2 of this. But, anywho, let's get this started. Now, we start off with Itachi. Now, after the whole Itachi fight and stuff with Sasuke, this is where Itachi pretty much dies off. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait a minute, Keyshawn Uchiha. But ain't this where, like, pretty much Itachi will get reanimated later on and say goodbye to Sasuke and all that? No, that's not gonna happen. I know we could make it happen, but nah. Let's make it extra spicy. You're gonna know why. But other than that, let's continue. Pretty much, Itachi dies off, doing the whole fingerprint and saying goodbye to his brother one last time. Now, this is where Itachi wakes up again and opens up his eyes. Now, as he's looking around, this is where he realized that he's in the hospital. He's pretty much in a building, which he pretty much is confused and saying, where am I? And why do I feel small? Now, this is where the doctors start saying, well, congratulations, you have a boy. Which, this is where he starts seeing doctors as saying, doctors. And this is where he gets be given to Inko. Inko says, my son looks beautiful. Which he says, wait a minute, did I been reincarnated or brought back? But how? And what is this world? Now, this is where Itachi is thinking about all the possibilities of how this is possible and stuff. And this starts just outright going a little bit crazy, but he starts thinking like, okay, maybe this is where I can redeem myself and change myself. And he begins to just calm down and just say, well, let's see how this goes. Now, let's do a little bit of time skip. Now, we got like a 5-year-old Naruto. I mean, not a 5-year-old Naruto, my bad. Sorry. A 5-year-old Itachi. Now, this 5-year-old Itachi is pretty much already has been doing his chakra training, and he is, you could say, not his prime version self, but he's like training hard, as he knows all the Uchiha techniques and stuff, and he pretty much is just training his body in a very young age. Now, this is where Deku is pretty much training his body and stuff in his room, and pretty much Inko tells him that to get ready and he has to go to school, which this is where Itachi is pretty much saying, alright, I pretty much get dressed and starts heading. Now, as he's pretty much going, this is where Itachi tells his mom goodbye, and he pretty much starts heading off to school. Now, as he's heading off to school, this is where he meets with Bakugo, and he can already tell that, like, how can I say this? He's not as a kid. He's more like a adult kid. Like, you could say a grown man kid, as he knows more shit that other kids don't know. As he can tell their personalities and shit. He's just like the badass cool kid that knows everything and you kind of don't like, but you do like because he's the shit. Yeah, that's Itachi right now. Pretty much, this is where Bakugo runs up to Deku and says, "Deku," which Itachi looks and says, "Yes." Which this is where Bakugo says, "Let's go walk together to school." Which pretty much this is where Itachi says, "All right, if you say so," and they start going. Now, as they're going, this is where Itachi is thinking, is saying, I need to practice more of my chakra control. It's at 80%, but I need to get it up to 100%. And begins to start thinking about this, but this is where he starts heading to school. Now, all the kids like Deku, but they call him Itachi because Deku likes to be called Itachi instead of Deku. He just doesn't feel the name, so the kids call him Itachi. So except for Bakugo, he calls him Deku, but that's just as a nickname. But when when Itachi is serious, Bakugo will call him Deku. Now, this is where all the kids are saying, "Oh, hey, Itachi, you want to hang out?" And basically, Itachi is pretty much this saying, "Yeah, sure." And he's all chill and relaxed, not like, oh, chill for and everything like the Deku we know. He's more like chilled, relaxed, all calm, perfectly stable. If some real shit happens, he'll know what to do. Now, this is where Itachi is sitting down with the kids and stuff. Pretty much just eat lunch and stuff because they already did class time stuff. This is where I'm just gonna put a villain to attack the whole place. Now, this villain is pretty much trying to have a hostage situation, so he can pretty much have get a lot of money out of this hostage situation. So this is where he has one of the teachers, and he has like sharp nails and pointing to her neck, saying, "No one moves, or I'm gonna fucking cut this bitch throat off." Which pretty much every kid is crying, saying, "I want my mommy" and stuff. Except for Itachi, no, he's much different. This is where he activate his. This is where he activate his three Tamui. Now, this is where the villain looks at. Like, this is where the villain is pretty much having the kids right behind him. But this is where Deku tugs at the villain, which the villain pretty much looks down and says, "What do you want, kid?" And he pretty much Itachi says, "Look into my eyes," and the villain instantly be put in the Genjutsu. Now, this is where the villain is saying, this is where the villain is in the Genjutsu, but he doesn't know he's in the Genjutsu, say, "What do you want?" Which the kid pretty much says, "Oh, nothing. It's just that you're stuck here," which pretty much the villain kicks Itachi away, but that's just an illusion. Now, this is where all the kids are grabbing knives and stuff, and just pretty much stabbing his legs and stuff, and he falls to the ground. And he's pretty much saying, "What the hell is wrong with these kids?" And they're pretty much stabbing him over again, left and right and stuff, and he's pretty much screaming, saying, "Ah!" Now, this is pretty much he's on the ground. He's not dead or anything. He's just on the ground, knocked the fuck out. And he's under the Genjutsu, which all the kids look at Deku and ask him what he did, which asks Itachi what he did, and pretty much Itachi is explaining, saying, "Oh, I just put him in the Genjutsu." And the teacher says, "You what?" Which Itachi doesn't explain it, and he pretty much says, "Can I just go now? I'm kind of late." Which the teacher says, "Go ahead." Which he pretty much tells all the kids bye, and he starts leaving. Which all the kids are pretty much terrified, and half of them are pretty much saying, "Is he a monster or a demon? What is he?" Which this is where they kind of does a shift change of looking at Itachi much differently now. Instead of like cheerful and playful and as a cool kid, now they fear him and saying like, "Oh, he might attack us when he gets angry," which is not gonna happen. But anyways, this is where Itachi heads home and asks, and his mom asks what happened, which pretty much this is where Itachi explains that you could say Itachi explains that he pretty much put the villain under the Genjutsu, and he pretty much had come home because he wanted to be late. Which his mom hugs him and saying that she was worried about him and to not do that again because what will happen if it goes wrong. Which Itachi looks at her with a serious look and says, "Mother, I will be fine. Don't worry about me." And just heads in his room and goes practice his chakra. So that's like a little bit of a, you could say, of how powerful Itachi is right now and what he just did. But let's continue. Pretty much we start with the start of the anime, you could say. Yeah, the start of the anime. Now, this is pretty much I think there was like 15 before this. Yeah, so a 15 on Itachi. So this Itachi hair is much longer now. Instead of being short, it's much longer, as it's quite long, like longer than Itachi had it before. So yeah, his hair is much more longer. Now, this is where Itachi is in the room, pretty much practicing his chakra control. Um, Pretty much working on his chakra control, sensory abilities and stuff. And this is where he senses mom is coming upstairs and stuff. This is where his mom opens up the store and asks Mizuku, "Are you okay?" Which pretty much Itachi says he's fine. And she asks him, "Are you ready for your last day of school?" Which pretty much she says yeah, and starts getting ready and starts to heading to the school. Now, as he's heading into school, as he's walking to the school, this is where Bakugo is pretty much walking right beside him and saying, "Sup, sup, Mizuku," which pretty much Itachi says, "Yo," and they pretty much start talking to each other. Now, as they're talking to each other, this is where Bakugo is saying that he's gonna go to the UA High Academy and become a hero, which Itachi doesn't really care about becoming a hero. He really doesn't really care. He just wants to work on his chakra and more, and pretty much just, I don't know, just want to do whatever he wants. He doesn't really want to be a hero. Maybe he wants to be like, I don't know, assassin, assassin for the USA government or agency, or become a killer that kill only the evil and to protect this place that they live in. Which pretty much Bakugo is saying, "Huh, I see." Which Bakugo starts jokingly saying, "Yeah, it suits you most. You have a killer stare and stuff," and start joking about um Itachi's stare and stuff and death stare and his killing feeling, which Itachi does a little smile, which Bakugo laughs too. Now, this is where they heads in the class, and Bakugo sits on his seat and stuff, and Itachi sits on his seat. Now, as class is starting, this is where the teacher comes in and says, it seems that, basically the teacher does the same thing in the anime, and basically throws the paper out and saying everybody wants to become a hero, which pretty much this is where he looks at the paper and says, "Huh, Bakugo," and that's pretty much it. Who wants to go to UA High? Which this is where Bakugo was a little bit upset because he thought Itachi would switch his mind, but he didn't. And this is where Itachi begins to start getting up and leaving, which Bakugo saying where he's gonna go, which this is where Itachi says that he's gonna just go home early, which this is where Bakugo says he's gonna go with him. Now, as they're going, this is where Bakugo and Itachi is talking to each other, and pretty much Bakugo's saying that is he gonna change his mind of becoming a hero because he looks like he can really do it, and Baku was also like saying that he really wants him to become a hero because he's good as a hero, which Itachi is thinking about it, but also just saying like he doesn't really want to like do this hero stuff, and like he said, he wants to like do some other things, maybe some Ombu missions or something. Which Bakugo looks at him in confusion and saying Ombu missions, but basically y'all know what he's talking about. Basically some missions to get intel, or basically just kill targets to protect where they live at, you could say. Now, as they're going, this is where the sludge villain attacks, and this is where the sludge villain started to attack, you could say, Itachi, and Itachi backs away, like jumps, you could say like chakra dash backs away and does a backflip. And this is where he instantly does some hand seals and says, "Fireball. Great fireball jutsu," which he shoots a massive fireball at the sludge villain, pretty much hitting the shit out of the sludge villain. Now the sludge villain is pretty much burning, and this is where he gets turned into a crisp, and you could say pretty much die. Now, this is where Bakugo is saying, "Holy shit, that was amazing." Itachi, which, well, he says Mizuku, which pretty much Itachi says, it was nothing. Which Itachi is thinking and saying, yeah, that was quite amazing. I regularly don't have a lot of chakra, but holy crap, that was a lot. That didn't take nothing of me. Now, I know what y'all guys saying. Like, what is Itachi's chakra right now? I'm just gonna say this right now. Itachi chakra is that of the Nine-Tails Cherokee chakra. Not of like Naruto's and combined of Nine-Tails Cherokee, but it's that of the Nine-Tails Cherokee chakra. Now I know what you're saying. That's a lot of chakra. And I know what you're thinking. That is a lot of chakra. And that's a lot of chakra that I'm going to give him. Now, if y'all want me to like nerf his chakra, just tell me what percentage y'all want his chakra to be, and I will nerf it. But if y'all want that chakra to be up like that, then please, let's continue. But anyways, let's for real continue. Now, as Itachi is pretty much looking at the Sludge Villain. The Sludge Villain is pretty much burnt to a crisp, so he can't really do anything, and he can't move his body. He's not dead, but he can't move his body. And now, this is where All Might comes down and says, "I am here," which pretty much Itachi and Bakugo looks and says, "Holy crap, it's All Might." It's that for Itachi. He's like, "Oh, Itachi, cool." Which he's pretty much in, you could say, this in a cool demeanor. Now, this is where All Might looks at both of them and pretty much Bakugo asks for an autograph, which pretty much All Might asks Deku does he want an autograph, which asks Itachi if he wants an autograph, which pretty much Itachi says nah, he doesn't really need an autograph, and pretty much just starts heading forward. Which this is where All Might asks who did this to the Sludge Villain, which pretty much Bakugo says that this was him right here. He pretty much did this, and pretty much Itachi looks at All Might and says he did it, which All Might is impressed and saying, "Wow, you have a quite amazing quirk," which this is where Itachi says that he doesn't have a quirk. And he pretty much just starts walking away, which All Might says, then how did he do this? Which Bakugo is also confused of too, of what do you mean he doesn't have a quirk? He has those weird eyes, and also he just shot fire out his mouth. What do you mean he doesn't have a quirk? Which pretty much Bakugo gets the autograph and is trying to catch up with Deku, or Itachi, but can't because Itachi just flash stepped away. Now, this is where Itachi heads back home and pretty much says hi to his mom, which Inko says, "Oh, hey, dear," which they pretty much sit down and begins to start eating food. Now, as they're eating food, this is where she asks him what he's going to do, which this is where he says that he's going to join the military, or or become a secret agent or a spy or something. Which pretty much Inko is saying, "Are you sure you don't want to become a hero?" Which pretty much Itachi says, "Yeah, he's sure," and begins to start like getting up and going in his room. Now, this is where he just goes in his room, but he really heads out the window and starts going. Now, this is where he goes to like a place or like a facility, a government place, and pretty much teleports there, or not teleport, pretty much vanishes there. Now, he pretty much hides his concealment and sees the government, or like one of the military sergeants or higher ups, and he pretty much teleports in front of them and says, "I am Itachi Uchiha," which pretty much he freaks out and says, "Holy shit, kid. Who are you again?" Which he says his name is Itachi Uchiha, and he wants to become a spy or like a black ops or something like that. Which pretty much the higher up starts thinking and saying, "Hold on," which he starts thinking and saying, he has quite skills. He looks quite youthful. Yeah, we could have him. Which pretty much he thinks about it and says, "Alright, kid. Meet me at this certain place tomorrow and let me see your skills. And if you fit the bill, and we can bring you in. Which, pretty much, this is where Itachi starts smiling, and he heads off. Now, the next day, this is where he heads to this location that the higher up pretty much talked to him, or one of the military governments tell him to meet, and he pretty much tests him out with the stuff. Now, this is where he has a 1v1 with another soldier, and it's a Black Ops soldier, like the highest skill, and Itachi absolutely just bitch made him. And even when he's trying to get a surprise sneak attack on him, Itachi just does his crows and pretty much just kicks the shit out of him, you could say. Now, the second test is basically testing what quirk he has, and he pretty much just does his jutsus, like his fire styles and stuff. And pretty much they say, okay, so he has a fire quirk. Okay, amazing. This shit is quite good. Now, the third test, this is where they see if he can get into a base without being noticed and pretty much get out of there with all information and stuff. Which this is where he aced very well, like very good with it. Which this is where the military government pretty much, or the government pretty much is looking at Itachi and saying, this kid is quite talented. He's, as apology, he's really good. We can use him, and with enough more training, we can make him the ultimate weapon. Which pretty much he's having a smile on his face and saying, okay. Now this is where he walks up to Itachi and says, Itachi, welcome to the Black Ops. We're gonna be doing a operation tomorrow, so get ready. Which this is where Itachi smiles and says, alright. Now this is part 1 of what if Deku was Itachi. If you like, leave like, do all that stuff. And comment with the parts you like and what craziness you kinda like and what you didn't like. But also, sorry that I said it's 18 plus. If y'all thought I was about to add a sex scene, not in part 1, but part 2, I will be adding one. But I'm Tisho and Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.